And PBS Kids, 𝗕𝗶𝗄 connects Western New England. And you make it all possible with your contributions. Now it's easier than ever to support 𝗕𝗶𝗄. Simply text the word GIVE to 800-639-5057 and we'll respond with easy-to-follow steps to donate. Thanks.
You're watching New England Public Media, WGBY Springfield.
Music photography is like the music itself. It's part of our cultural heritage.
What I do is a form of music. It's just music for the eyes.
Best job in the world. I'm a rock fan. I want to see that picture and I want to feel it.
Cover of Rolling Stone meant you were something.
It's about music, artistry, and energy.
It's more than just a photograph, it's a work of art.
Tune in or stream Icon Music Through the Lens July 16th.
Coming up tonight, we're connecting you with the city that's been called the Brooklyn of the Berkshires, Pittsfield, Massachusetts. We'll take a look at the vibrant art scene.
Pittsfield is the only place where you can stay downtown at a hotel, and within a half-mile of where you're staying, there are art galleries, museums, theaters, performing arts, world-renowned.
We'll explore the culture and creativity of this community.
My books have been adapted to plays and musicals. That's not happening in the Bronx, but that magic can happen here because it's a magical place.
And we'll visit the historic Wahconah Park grandstand to catch a ball game.
Wahconah Park is one of the most famous parks in all the land. My godmother started taking me up here in 1951. This is my 70th year.
Details on those stories and more as we go on the road to Pittsfield. Up next on Connecting Point.
Support for Connecting Point is provided by our contributing viewers.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us for Connecting Point. I'm 𝗬𝗹𝗆. We're taking Connecting Point on the road tonight and coming to you this evening from the city of Pittsfield, Massachusetts, in the heart of Berkshire County. The Berkshires are a cultural playground and for many, the epicenter of the arts in Western New England. Pittsfield, the largest city in the county, lies at the heart of it all and is rich in both culture and entertainment opportunities, including museums, live theater, public art and gallery exhibitions, music, and even sporting events. The isolation of this past year has made many of us realize the things that we take for granted, both large and small. The simple pleasure of attending a baseball game is one of those things, and for a city like Pittsfield, where the residents love America's pastime, the last year was especially difficult. After having the 2020 season canceled, Connecting Point's Brian Sullivan grabbed a seat in the grandstand of historic Wahconah Park for the Pittsfield Suns home opener to find out just how much they missed it.
Going to a baseball game is as uniquely a part of the American experience as the hot dogs and hamburgers being grilled, served, and eaten there. It's banjo Joe Ryan singing this song at every game at the bottom of the 7th inning for the 15th season. It's the mom who cheers a little louder than the others while her son is pitching, or the dad who says, "Good eye," after the pitch that leads to a base on balls. It's a wooden grandstand built in 1919 that's one of the last of its kind in the United States. And after a canceled 2020 season, in 2021, it's 7 simple words on a marquee.
For me, to be able to come up to a ball game, I love it. Wahconah Park is one of the most famous parks in all the land. My godmother started taking me up here in 1951. This is my 70th year of baseball at Wahconah Park.
For the uninitiated, Wahconah Park has been the field of baseball dreams for the blue-collar city of Pittsfield dating back to the 1890s. Double-A teams for the Boston Red Sox, Texas Rangers, Milwaukee Brewers, and Chicago Cubs made this their home park, as did the single-A teams for the New York Mets and Houston Astros. Since 2002, though, it's been the unpaid college players showing off their skills here. 2012 marked the first year for the Pittsfield Suns of the Futures Collegiate Baseball League, and until the canceled 2020 season, it had been a continuation of the decades-long tradition of summertime baseball here. That's what made the 21-season home opener such a special occasion for so many.
I think it was really, really hard on a lot of people. We're hoping and praying that they're going to come back so that we can have a game to go to, for something to do in Pittsfield. It gives a lot of people to be able to come out and enjoy the weather, the game, the food, the beer.
I mean, the field looks good, really nice and green. It's a beautiful day. Got a little ballpark food. Didn't cost me $1,000. Got my seats. You know, this is great. I can't wait to come back for some more games.
For me, this was just a long-awaited visit to a place that was only part of a stat line on the back of the baseball cards that I collected as a kid. I'm not planning on waxing poetic or trying to romanticize the game of baseball. There are plenty of people that can do that for me. What I am fascinated by is the tradition and history of these old ballparks. Hall of Fame catcher Carlton Fisk spent the summer of 1969 playing here before heading across the state and calling Fenway Park his home for the next decade. In the summer of 1986, a 21-year-old outfielder named 𝗵𝗵𝗆 and a 20-year-old pitcher named Greg Maddux both played on the same Pittsfield Cubs team. 𝗵𝗆 went on to hit 569 big league home runs. Maddux won 355 games in the senior circuit and now has a plaque in Cooperstown. These guys here are still amateurs, but the dream of playing big league baseball is the thread that ties all their stories together. The untold story is that these players have to stand out enough on their college squads just to get picked for these teams. And when this season's over, it's back to college and on to fall ball, winter ball, and then the spring season, all without drawing a paycheck for their dedication. So for the true believers, which seems to be most of them, that dream is very real, and they'll do whatever it takes to get to the next level.
The schedule's pretty long, but baseball is the only thing that I've known all my life. It's like the language of my life. So as many games as I can get in, I'm going to play as many games as I can.
Every Friday night, Connecting Point explores the creativity, culture, and community that make us Western New England. But it doesn't stop there. You can find us online anytime for exclusive features and content. As Brian Sullivan just showed us, Pittsfield is clearly a baseball town. And in our digital exclusive this week, executive producer Tony Dunn shows us that ties to the game run deep here, and that there is a possibility that America's pastime began right here in 1791, long before Cooperstown.
There were a bunch of kids apparently playing ball and breaking windows in the courthouse. So the court issued a document banning the use of playing baseball in that vicinity. In the same sentence is the first mention of the word baseball so far documented and authenticated in North America.
Don't miss this digital exclusive, available online right now at nepm.org/connectingpoint. The Berkshires are a mecca for world-renowned arts and culture, with dance, theater, and museums galore. So it should come as no surprise that the largest city in Berkshire County boasts an exciting and active cultural scene. I sat down with Jennifer Glockner, director of Pittsfield's Office of Cultural Development, to discover all that the city has to offer.
Pittsfield is the heart of the Berkshires. We are smack dab in the middle, and we tell everyone that we are accessible to everything from Pittsfield, but also Pittsfield is the only place where you can stay downtown at a hotel, and within a half mile of where you're staying, there are art galleries, there are museums, there are theaters, there are performing arts, world-renowned performing art spaces. Berkshire Theater Groups, Colonial Theater, and Barrington Stage has several footprints in Pittsfield.
Tell me where we are and what this place is.
This is the Lichtenstein Center for the Arts. We're so fortunate that it's owned by the city of Pittsfield. There are 9 artist studios here, and then this is an art gallery. We rotate art shows every month, typically opening on the first Friday of the month during First Friday's Arts Walk. But we have art in our school every May, which is on the walls right now. These are Pittsfield High School AP art students. And then we have 𝗃𝗲𝗃, Community Access to the Arts, every July here. So we have shows that happen every year, but then we have unique shows also.
The city is known for its many cultural events, such as Third Thursdays and the 10 by 10 Up Street Arts Festival. Can you tell us about those events and others that you offer throughout the year?
We love Third Thursday. In the typical normal, quote unquote, Third Thursday, it's a big street festival. The half-mile downtown of North Street shuts down to cars, and there's pedestrians and food trucks and vendors and entertainment. So this year we're actually doing something like that on Friday, September 17th, save the date, over at the Common, which is another gem in Pittsfield, this beautiful park. And we're doing a block party. The 10 by 10 Upstreet Arts Festival is a partnership with Barrington Stage. Julie Boyd, the artistic director at Barrington Stage, came to this office and said, I want to do a 10 by 10 new play festival. Every 10 minutes a new play begins. It's phenomenal. You're laughing 1 minute and crying the next minute, and you can't believe that there's 5 or 6 actors doing this whole thing.
Now, a vibrant city usually has an active culinary scene, and it's one of my favorite things about the city of Pittsfield. What can foodies expect to find when they visit?
Everything. I mean, Pittsfield, again, is just, it blows my mind, all of the international culinary experiences you can get in Pittsfield. And right here downtown, there's tapas, Mexican food, Asian fusion. We really have anything you want. It's crazy to say that in such a small city, but it's true. The food here blows my mind.
Through Artscape, the city embraces public art display. What is Artscape, and what new public art projects are you unveiling this year?
Artscape is a great organization, and it's a committee that meets once a month. The mission of the committee is to bring public art to Pittsfield, downtown and beyond. And Artscape has done some great things. We did the electrical load boxes got transformed to works of art, and we did a call for art for those. There is a beautiful mural on top of the Lantern building called The Sun Will Rise, and it's gorgeous. Over the next 6 to 8 months, there will be more murals popping up in Pittsfield for sure. So we're really excited that Berkshire Lightscapes is expanding. It's a great uplighting throughout downtown. So if you come down to Pittsfield at night, it's beautiful. You see these lights throughout downtown. And we are announcing an expansion of this in mid-July, where there will be an actual art show, and look for a call for artists in the late summer for an opportunity to be a part of that light show.
How important are the arts and the creative economy for the city?
It is the city. It sparks the economy to thrive. The arts and the creative economy is what makes Pittsfield what it is. And then it's the ripple effect. They go out to dinner, some stay for the weekend, they go for coffee at the local coffee shop. I would say it's a key part to Pittsfield.
And how is Pittsfield leveraging arts and culture to create a healthier, better represented, and more equitable city?
The creative economy and arts in Pittsfield is diverse, and it always has been, and we strive to pay attention to that in everything that we do, and it's just an amazing thing that Pittsfield has.
Pittsfield's Office of Cultural Development is the oldest of its kind in the county. Talk to me about the history of this office and why it's important for municipalities to have a cultural facilitator on staff.
It is unusual around the country to have a municipal Office of Cultural Development, and we are very thankful every year that the city councilors and the mayor and the city staff continue to say, yes, we want this. And here in Pittsfield, the city of 44,000 in Western Massachusetts, we have it, and we're thankful.
Pittsfield's Colonial Theater is an icon in the region, and like so many venues during the COVID pandemic, it faced an uncertain future during this past year. But on Memorial Day weekend, it took its next step towards recovering from the pandemic, as Massachusetts allowed all businesses to reopen at full capacity. Connecting Point's Ross Lipman shows us how the Berkshire Theater Group is handling the changes, and talks with Grammy Award winner and former NPR host 𝗪𝗓𝗄 about what it feels like to perform live music once again.
Drab, dreary, and cold. They aren't words you'd normally use to describe Memorial Day weekend in the Berkshires, but the weather wasn't the only thing unique about Saturday, May 29th in Pittsfield.
Okay, I just need to confirm your phone number.
At Berkshire Theater Group, fans are filing in with one major difference.
And we're just asking patrons tonight if they have been fully vaccinated.
We're all vaccinated.
All vaccinated. Good to hear. Okay.
Masks are now optional.
For vaccinated people, masks are encouraged but not required. For non-vaccinated people, they're still advised, as is distancing.
May 29th marked the largest step in Massachusetts reopening after 15 months of the COVID-19 pandemic.
All the way down the hallway. Enjoy the show.
All businesses can reopen at 100% capacity, including theaters. There is also no longer an order for face coverings. Instead, an advisory.
The only constant is change, and that's very true with the COVID, and it's also true in theater. So live theater especially, you don't know what's going to happen from one day to the next, so you have to be ready for anything.
Hello, how are you? I'm well. Welcome, welcome.
When the pandemic was shuttering theaters across the country, BTG improvised with its Outside Under the Tent series of concerts, plays, and musicals. Now the tent faces its biggest litmus test to date, for the first time with fully visible faces in the crowd. Tonight, they're eagerly waiting to see Grammy Award winner and former NPR host, Chris Thile.
How are you? I feel like we haven't seen each other in forever. You doing all right? I'm so glad you're here.
I've been doing this professionally since I was 7 years old. And while I identify as someone who doesn't take it for granted, as someone who still loves it after all this time, I know now that I have absolutely been guilty of undervaluing any opportunity to play music with and for people. And so if there's a silver lining to all of this from my perspective, it's that I will never take the company of my fellow human beings for granted, ever.
All is over.
Berkshire Theater Group still has a summer's worth of shows to go. And as Massachusetts continues to move forward with reopening, their goal is to find the right balance so patrons can feel safe, and as they have for the last year and a half, that the show goes on.
We're very grateful that we've been able to provide theater throughout the entire year, throughout the whole process of COVID. Our patrons have been I'm getting a little misty, have been very grateful as well. And so we just hope that they'll keep coming back and exploring with us and being safe and giving us their input so that we can make it the best experience that they could possibly have.
That's where that's all we go.
If you're enjoying our road trip to Berkshire County this evening, we have even more stories from Pittsfield available online, including this look at the fascinating history of the Berkshire Theater Group's iconic colonial theater.
It was built in 1903, and it was very much a part of the vaudeville era. So all the famous vaudevillians performed here for quite some time.
And it served the community as a theater and then a movie house for many years. Then it closed down.
You can find that story and so much more online right now at nepm.org/connectingpoint. Pittsfield is host to a dazzling array of creatives, including artists, entrepreneurs, and interesting people of all stripes. One such person is acclaimed children's author, literacy advocate, and motivational speaker Ty Allen Jackson. Through his books like The 𝗪𝗪 and the Read or Else movement that he co-founded, Jackson has long championed reading for both children and adults alike. A native of the Bronx, Ty sat down with me to discuss his work, his passion for reading, and why he chooses to call Pittsfield home.
It all started from a question from my, at the time, 8-year-old son. He said, "Dad, can we open up a lemonade stand?" And we did, right on the corner of our home in Dexter and Elm Street. And he made $50 in 3 hours selling lemonade, which, totally blew my mind. And he said, "Dad, what am I going to do with all this money?" And I really didn't know. So I went to the bookstore to see if I could find a book to teach my son about finance and entrepreneurship, because he was, after all, now an entrepreneur. And, I noticed initially two things. One, there were so few books featuring children of color in a positive, contemporary way. And there were so few books teaching financial literacy. And so those two things combined into Danny Dollar, and, as they say, the rest is history.
Danny Dollar is clearly an extension of your son, and the character was born from his experience. How important is representation in books for children of color?
It's incredibly vital that children see themselves depicted, especially in positive and contemporary ways. There are plenty of books with underground railroads and segregation and things of that nature, but it's also incredibly important for white children to be able to see that exact same figure in children of color. So it really makes a tremendous difference in the eyes of all children, but specifically children of color, because it gives them a level of pride that I don't think exists in any other form.
Now, Danny Dollar came about from the very real need for you to educate your son on finance and the importance of that. What other kinds of stories do you like to tell, and what themes really resonate with you?
I want the children who read these books just to feel like they see themselves depicted in them, regardless of race or gender or anything else. That's why my stories are very broad. That's why they're always fun. Two of my books are about superheroes. And think about what superheroes stand for. They stand for nobility and courage and honor and strength and wisdom and taking care of your community. And those are all attributes we all want to have, and certainly that we all want to see within our children. So it's really important, for that not to be compartmentalized to just one specific group, just a little black boy. It should be for all children. So it's really important not to stereotype my characters. They're just, amazing children who happen to be black.
Just as you mentioned, you said that comic books have been very inspiring for you, and it's often one of the first mediums that children explore when they begin reading. What is it about comic books that really speaks to you, and what attributes do you really enjoy about those books?
Yeah, I think it's a sense of adventure. It's a sense of seeing what you would like for yourself to be. When you see a Batman or a Superman who's courageous and strong and smart and, just really wants to help their fellow person. I mean, who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want to be a part of making the world a better place? So, that's one of the aspects of superheroes. I think the other part is that, most superheroes are all kind of flawed. And I think there's genius in being able to see these really strong-willed people who want to save the world, but they're also kind of just like us. They brush their teeth and, they have issues and problems the same way that we have. It makes a bond and a conduit from reader to character to be able to see themselves depicted.
So being attracted to those flawed characters in the comic books, do you try to put those characteristics in your own books with your characters?
Oh, 100%. And it's not just being flawed, it's just kind of normalized. I want them to be able to see those same type of basic, normal, flawed characteristics that we all have and possess, and how we overcome them, and how we can maybe even use them as assets to make the world a better place. So for kids to be able to make that connection and say, wow, this particular character is just like me, and not just the ways that look like me, but in the ways that make me me.
How did the Read or Else movement come about, and why use such a serious and dramatic statement?
Because it is serious and dramatic. The importance and power of literacy is, I think, in my opinion, one of the unspoken, but most important aspects of our life and culture. They dramatically impact almost everything that ails our country, from poverty and mass incarceration to teen pregnancy, poor health, unemployment, you name it. It's directly, not indirectly, but directly connected to illiteracy. 2 out of 3 children who cannot read proficiently by the 4th grade will end up incarcerated or on welfare. And that was just a game changer to us. Like, when we see that basically if our kids can't read proficiently by the 4th grade, the majority of them are going to end up incarcerated. So just that premise alone created the whole Read or Else movement. And it's really just been phenomenal how the world has kind of embraced that really simple but yet powerful statement.
Now, literacy is more than just a vocation for you, as you were just speaking about the incarcerated individuals. It's a passion of yours. What fuels that passion for you?
I think it's maybe no different than the whole superhero aspect of wanting to make the world a better place, you know, leaving this place, you know, when my time comes, a little better than when I was here. Like, what better way to do that than impact and empower our most beautiful and important assets, our children?
You grew up in the Bronx, and it is a huge part of your identity. Your work as a motivational speaker takes you across the country. So how does a kid from the Bronx end up here in Pittsfield?
That is a great question. It's magical for so many different reasons. And I think, you know, some of them are a tremendous sense of community and camaraderie. I mean, everybody kind of knows one another, and that knowledge of one another brings a tremendous level of support of one another. And it's the reason why a guy who's not even from here can come here and kind of make a mark. I don't think that this opportunity happens in most places. My books have been adapted to plays and musicals. That's not happening in the Bronx, but that magic can happen here because it's a magical place.
So being a child for anyone can be really, really difficult, confusing, and hard. How do books help navigate the childhood?
Books just bring a level of unbridled passion and imagination that you can't capture anywhere else. Stephen King called books portable pieces of magic, and I feel like that's exactly what they are, and that magic transfers from book to reader with every page, and I think it's the foundation of making your soul even more magical than it already is.
That does it for Connecting Point for June 25th, 2021. Remember, you can always find the stories that you saw tonight, as well as exclusive features, digital-only content, and more online anytime at nepm.org/connectingpoint. Our thanks to the City of Pittsfield for hosting us this evening. And please join us again next Friday night at 6 right here on New England Public Media for more stories of the creativity, culture, and community that make us Western New England. I'm 𝗬𝗪-𝗣𝗶. Thanks for watching and have a great evening.
Support for Connecting Point is provided by our contributing viewers.
PBS is proud to present The Latino Experience, a special collection of short films from a visionary group of filmmakers. Witness the stories, the struggles, the celebrations,